I'm Thomas Johnson, Antique Furniture Restoration in Gorham, Maine. This is a nice 19th century Victorian table. I'm sure that when it was built, when it was new, it was much taller. It was probably 30 inches tall, like a console table, and it's been cut down to into a coffee table. And I'm not a big fan of cutting down antiques, but it does make a nice coffee table. So it's not in a horrible condition, but it needs to be re-glued, so we'll re-glue all the joints. It's missing some of this little bead molding around here. It's also missing a piece of wood down here. We'll need to add on and recarve it. And then I will refinish the top. Alright, I've got this table disassembled. Everything's got to get glued back together. Even the subframe under the top is loose, so I'll glue that together before I do the veneer repairs. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is, the piece of wood is missing on the bottom of this leg, and I'm going to get that glued up. Alright, I got a piece of rosewood I've milled up. First thing I'm going to do, rosewood is an oily wood. I'm going to wipe these surfaces with lacquer thinner, and then when the lacquer thinner flashes off, I'll then glue it. Okay, our block of new wood here, the glue is dried overnight, so now it's time to start shaping this. How much good that's doing, but alright, I want to start milling up my wood to make these steam bent moldings. Okay, 1/4 inch. Okay, I've got a big piece of rosewood here. It's not great. It's a cut off with a lot of checks in it, but I think I can get what I need out of it. Okay, so the moldings are all made, and I rented a wallpaper steamer. I have this PVC pipe, and it has brackets built into it to hold pieces of wood. I've got the steamer going. I'm going to take the end off of here and put the pieces in. I made a lot of pieces of molding here. I made far more than I need. I expect there to be a high failure rate. Once I was set up to make the moldings, there's no reason not to make plenty. Okay, the pieces have been steaming for over an hour. I've already taken one out and it seems very pliable. So I'm going to pull all these out. In the meantime, I've taken the frame from the actual table, put a piece of packing tape on it, and I'm going to use that as a form. You can see that some have broken here, but that's okay. I've got plenty of molding here. I'll let these dry out, and I still may be able to use the part that's not broken. The rest of my pieces, I'll just wait. I may steam these again and just do it again, or even use the other side. Okay, the first step in gluing up the base will be to glue these halves together. And in order to do that, I've got to make some clamping blocks. so I can bring them together. Now these legs, I got to make a similar block here. It's a little more elaborate. This will be the area where my clamp goes. Okay, these have dried overnight. Let's take the clamps off and see what we've got. Well, now these have obviously sprung up, but they're holding their curve. Great. Okay, so now I'm going to take these clamps off. Alright, I'll choose my best strips here, and then I can start gluing it down where it goes. This is okay, I've sanded it with 150 and 220, and now even though I haven't assembled the base yet, I'm going to give it the first coat of tung oil finish. Okay, so the top is dried overnight. I'm going to sand it with 320 and then put on a second coat. My moldings look really good. I've just got now a lot of cleaning up to do, scraping off the glue and sanding all the moldings again. There's no real way I can check this for squareness. Just visually, it looks really good, so I think it's good. So I've got 2 coats of tung oil now on my top, and I'm sanding it with 320 again, and I'll brush on a 3rd coat. Okay, so I've let the glue dry overnight, and now I'm going to sand this up. I've already sanded the apron up to 150, but now I'm going to sand the space just with 320, and I'll also use a gray pad for the curved areas, the carved areas rather, and then I'll give it a coat of shellac. Okay, so I've got 3 coats of tung oil on this top, and now I'm going to sand it with 500, and then I'll rub it with dry steel wool, and then wax it. Well, I just put 2 coats of shellac on this, and it looks great. So I'm just going to rub it down with some steel wool and beeswax polish. All right, it's all done. A nice Victorian coffee table. It's too bad it got cut down from its original height, but it does make a nice coffee table. And if you remember, we of course re-glued the entire base. I scarfed on a piece of wood here that was missing, and also after doing veneer repairs, I made new bead molding, steam bent rosewood bead molding. And then I restored this base with a couple coats of shellac, but I refinished the top with tung oil and then wax. And it looks pretty good.